A lot of people watching this may have heard of people like Joe Griffin, Ivan Tyrrell, started Human Givens. They might have heard of Mark Tyrrell, started Uncommon Knowledge. Igor Ledovsky, who wrote the Deep Trance Training Manual. Adam Eason, Andrew Austin, hundreds of other fairly leading hypnotherapists. Yet what I think most people don't realise is actually behind all of them throughout the 90s was you training them. And yet at the height of all of your training in the 90s, you seem to suddenly vanish. You just went off the radar. Just as I was finding this person and seeing all these hypnotherapy things come through, you suddenly vanished off the scene. What happened? What was the reason for you vanishing? And then what took place in those sort of lost years, as it were?
If you're training a lot of people, which I was, what happens is it becomes a job. You know, I'm a therapist, and I was a therapist for a long time before I even started teaching. So for about 12 years I was a therapist, Ericksonian hypnotherapist. And then I started teaching in 84. And then you're a trainer. And all of a sudden you're spending all your time teaching people and not enough time doing therapy. And then as it expands and you're running more and more courses, you end up as a businessman. And there's a downside to that, and that is that you start to like it. It becomes nice to have a nice car, a nice house, and all the things that come with a successful business. Now, it's nice to be secure, but the problem is as you become dependent on some material wealth as opposed to spiritual, for example, what happens is you need to replace that spiritual wealth when the car gets damaged, or when the mobile phone is out of date. You need to decorate the house. And so I realized there was a point where I was trapped in this kind of this rat race. And the trouble with being successful is you have to maintain your success. And that's a very difficult thing. It's not just for me, but anyone who's very successful, even in a niche as small as Ericksonian hypnosis. When you're very successful in a niche, there's a stress, because you have to maintain a position. And if there was nothing material in your life, if you were able just to run that and just give all your money away to charity, that's a different thing, of course, because you're doing it for different reasons. But I became a victim of that success. And I discovered it was just too much to handle. Now, around that time, it was the mid-90s or something, there were changes in funding in the NHS, and most of the people I trained were NHS people. They were nurses, social workers, psychologists, who wanted really to get out of the NHS and work privately as a psychotherapist or hypnotherapist. And they had to have training anyway every year, so they were paid to do it. And the government cut the funding. They changed that. And so all of a sudden the people who were coming were not coming. And so the market kind of didn't dry up, but it dropped dramatically. Now that's okay if you don't need to maintain a lifestyle. But I had this lifestyle, and I decided, maybe this is not a good lifestyle, because I'm becoming a victim. I had become a victim of that. I thought, I'm going to let it go. So what I decided, I can no longer fulfill my real purpose, which is to transform lives. Now, by that I don't necessarily mean on a one-to-one basis, although of course that's part of my work. I mean transform lives via the people I teach. And that's the most important thing. It's all those people I will never ever get to know. They're the people that mean the most to me, because they're the people I will touch somehow through the people I teach. And with an organisation with a complicated infrastructure, costly infrastructure, and looking like it's starting to topple, I thought, I'm not going to be here under the rubble. What I want to do is wind it down. And so I wound it down. We finished the last diploma. I didn't actually tell anybody I was going to wind it down. I just finished the last course. All I didn't advertise any more courses. Then the last thing I wanted to do was lead people halfway through a course. So we all finished the courses all nicely. And I put somebody in charge of managing the graduates in terms of they had an organisation. They were all part of a graduate association. And I thought, okay, that's it. I need to be able to take time out and come back in at a different angle. And I need to repair the damage to me through that. I realised I'd kind of gone on a path and just gone along with the tide. It was so successful. There was no kind of decision, shall I do that or do this? I just went with it, and that's what happened. And then I decided that was enough. And he was fed up of the Japanese businessmen who'd heard about him and gone there to kind of find out what his lifestyle was like, to live in a bamboo hut without a phone and any of the amenities. And so I thought, well, if he can do it, if the worst thing that happens is I live in paradise, why not just choose to live in paradise? Don't wait for anything to happen.